Hey, welcome back. Today we're gonna take a slight break from doing the usual math, and instead we're gonna address a very hot topic recently, which is power creeping. With the release of Ganyu in Genshin Impact, a portion of the community seems to be concerned about power creeping, mostly referring to that maybe Ganyu is too strong and it's gonna outshine all the other DPS characters. Some people are even calling for a nerf on Ganyu. This is not the first time the power creep topic has been brought up in the Genshin Impact community. The last time of course was surrounding the Zhongli buff in the beta because MiHoYo buffed him twice, and rumors saying that there's going to be another buff going on in the beta server, and so players are concerned if he's going to be buffed way too much and make other support irrelevant. With that being said, I felt like it is important for us to start addressing about power creeping in Genshin Impact and start adjusting our expectation on what we should be expecting when it comes to power level and stuff. So before we get started, let's talk about what is power creeping. Power creeping is when a game releases new content and it invalidates previous generation of content, whether it be characters or a weapon. The classic example of this can be found in the online trading card game Hearthstone. When Hearthstone first came out, there's this card called Magma Ranger, which costs 3 mana to play the card and has 5 attack and 1 health. And then 2 years later, Hearthstone released another card similar to Magma Ranger. It's called Ice Ranger. This card also has 3 mana and also has 5 attack, but instead of having 1 health, it has 2. And what happened, of course, is Ice Ranger is a strictly better card than the Magma Ranger because it's capable of doing the same thing as Magma Ranger, but with an additional HP. So there's no situation where you would ever play Magma Ranger because you would just play Ice Ranger instead. Well, let's go back to Genshin Impact. So the problem is that people are fear Ganyu does so much damage that there's not going to be a point to play other DPS. So does Ganyu make other DPS irrelevant? No, I don't think so. The thing with gacha game is that characters often rotate in and out of flavor depending on the current situation. For example, events. Remember the cryo flower from the previous event? Would you guys say the Luke or Klee is better than Ganyu at this particular boss? Or perhaps even Ember, who is able to break the shield from a long range distance? Or maybe even for the current event, where on the first day, the boss have 50% cryo resistance. Not to mention something like the wolf, it's just straight up immune to cryo on their first phase. But you get the idea. And the truth is, the content that we face will change all the time in the game. Maybe someday, Electro will even be the best DPS in the game. A good example of this is Jean. In the old Abyss 412, Jean wasn't really able to provide much aside from good damage and good healing. However, this is not true once the Abyss has rotated. In the current Abyss, Jean is very dominant because she's able to heavily abuse the Fatui agent for fall damage. There's a Chinese survey that went around for players who were able to clear 412 free Abyss. And here you can see that Jean has a really high play rate in the current Abyss. Or perhaps maybe another example is Kaeya. With the release of Cryo Artifact, it makes Cryo Freeze Team possible, and the DPS potential of Kaeya Freeze Team spiked it dramatically. And as you can see, under different conditions, different character will shine and perform better than one or the other. Surely, some character might be generally better than the other, for example the Luke with his Grey Sword and Pyro Element, in that naturally he have less counter and so he will get more chances to be able to utilize his 2. But I wouldn't say he makes something like the Keqing unplayable or irrelevant, so your favorite rifle is still gonna be fine. Unfortunately, that does not straight up mean that power creep is never gonna exist. Naturally, being a gacha game, as we release more and more characters, there's gonna be some amount of power creep, most likely in the support. The problem with support is that their functionality are often very generic. For example, they might provide buff or debuff. They might provide healing, they might provide CC, but outside of that, they don't really do much. One of the primary examples of this is Diona and Chi-Chi. They're both cryo element and they both provide healing. Nonetheless, all feel healing. So what's the difference between these two characters? Well, Diona also provide a shield, and Diona also have better energy regeneration for their team, also known as batterying. Oh, also Diona apply cryo slightly better. If you ever compared them on a electric Fatui, you would know what I'm talking about. So what do Chi-Chi do better than Diona then? Well, Chi-Chi have a lot bigger heal, and also Chi-Chi heal scale of attack, meaning that you can build her with attack damage and still get a really good amount of healing compared to Diona. The issue is that support functionality are very generic, so these are often not factored into concern. No one really look at Chi-Chi and say, wait a minute, she does like 10 more damage than Diona, let me just put her in the team. So majority of the time, Diona is just a straight up better cryo healer than Chi-Chi. And so Diona kind of invalidates Chi-Chi because, well, why would you bring Chi-Chi when you can just bring the better version of her, which is Diona? Since the category of support is so small, there are bound to be some overlap. In fact, the two true culprit of power creeping is Bennet and Venti. When is the last time that you see a team composition does not involve one of these two characters? They're way too good at doing the thing that they're good at so that every other support cannot compete with them. For Bennet, this is providing a offensive buff, and for Venti, this is CC ability as well as energy regen. They're so good at this that they make things that are normally impossible possible. For example, it's possible to build elemental mastery on your team if you run Bennet, because Bennet gives you so much attack that you can spare resources into elemental mastery, which of course I'll be covering in the Bennet elemental mastery video later. But let's think about the following question. Let's say you're looking for a support that will boost your overall team damage or maybe your individual character damage. Is it Albedo? Is it Fischl? Or would Bennet just be the correct answer like 9 out of 10 times? And as for Venti, well, his crazy ability of CCing and providing energy to your entire team make it possible to play a elemental burst spam kind of playstyle. In the footage here, you can see the newest elemental burst spam team which involve Venti, Ganyu, and Mona. And you can see that the Mona is able to constantly ditch out her ult, and with Ganyu, you're able to do the Omen extension. While Omen extension is possible using just Mona and Ganyu, the problem is that without Venti, it is not possible to do a infinite loop version. In other words, Venti enabled this playstyle and only Venti does it. Power creeping for support is very dangerous. Imagine if we get a pyro version of Fischl tomorrow, then what will happen to the game? Maybe Hydro DPS such as Child with Mona will suddenly be the best DPS in the game. Well, they're already the best DPS for Whale to utilize their one-shot, but now they can also constantly vaporize for sustained damage? Damn, that would be crazy, right? Imagine you're a brand new player who are given a choice between a very crazy strong DPS, which is Ganyu, or you could choose Venti. What would be your choice? For your favorite waifu DPS such as Keqing or Razor, the day for them to shine is surely gonna come, and new character is not gonna make them irrelevant since they're gonna be providing different stuff like different element, different form of attack, or different damage. However, for support, that's not the case since support are more generic. So I'll be much more concerned about power creeping on support than to power creep on DPS. But as we have mentioned, since support functionality are rather generic, your Chi-Chi is still going to be able to heal, your Bennet is still going to be able to provide that massive attack buff. So overall, I wouldn't be too concerned about it, and I wouldn't be too concerned about power creeping in general. You will still be able to clear content fine using just those characters. However, I'll be on the lookout when they start power creeping really strong support such as Venti. When a better Venti get released, the game is surely gonna shake up a little bit. Anyway, let me know what you guys think below, whether you agree or disagree. I'd like to see what you guys have to say. And see you guys next time.